Hi guys, Vitali here. It's our last lesson is setting your foundations module. And here we'll talk about a business model for your software. So, what we are going to cover in this lesson. First of all, we need to know why this step is essential before moving on to the next module. Then I will introduce you to a specific business model approach for software startups, which we call Lean Canvas. I will explain it to you, what is it about, why it's better than the traditional 50 pages business plan, and how to create one for your software idea. After this, we'll switch from slides to my screen and I will create 3 business models for 3 different businesses. One would be for real estate and the other 2 will be for software businesses. And finally, I will give you everything you need to create your own quick business model for your software idea. A quick important note here. You probably don't need this lesson if you are building software for your own purpose. In other words, you are on the software tool path. You can still watch it and benefit from it, but that is not a requirement and you can skip it directly to the project roadmap module instead. But if you are on the new income stream path in our masterclass, then this lesson is a required step before you jump to product strategy module. So, why do we need to brainstorm and define this business model for our software idea? There are 3 reasons. First, you want to clarify a couple of important questions for yourself in regards to your software business idea. Who are your customers? What problem do they have? How are you going to solve this problem with your software product? And finally, how you are going to monetize your idea? When you start thinking about these questions, you will be able to spot any apparent bottlenecks in your idea quickly. And this will be the first time when you check if your business idea is viable or not. The second reason. To improve our odds for business success, we will come up with quick preliminary numbers and options to monetize your idea later in our masterclass. For this, we will need a rough business model in place. So after you do your home assignments in this lesson, we will be better prepared for a more detailed product strategy step. Finally, in the middle of the project roadmap module, our team would step in firmly into your process and you'll have to do a few crucial things: technical oversight and solution roadmap. For this, you will need to share your software idea with us, and this business model canvas would be a great source of information for our team. This is how 50 pages of the business plan look like. In this case, it's a business plan for an online yoga courses business. But don't worry, we are not going to build these 50 pages of text, diagrams and numbers and waste 1 month of our valuable time on it. Any business plan is just a vast guess, or at better case, a bunch of assumptions. So why would we want to spend a few weeks of our life working on the list of assumptions, which will change once we launch our software? We'll better spend an hour or 2 with that knowledge of our market we already possess and put together some rough plan on how things might go. Usually based on what we already know in our niche and based on our existing competitors. This is all we have. Anything extra would be just a guess, right? So instead of hiring business analysts with MBA levels, paying them tons of money to write us 50 pages business plan, we are going in a bit different direction. We are going to create a quick, lean canvas, which is about answering 12 questions. Question number 1. Customer segments block. Who is your target audience? Who are those people we are going to serve with our software product? Here we list 1, 3 or up to 5 customer segments that we are going to serve. The problem and customer segments block we can view as connected. Without a customer segment in mind, you cannot think of their problems and vice versa. Question number 2. Early adopters. Who would be the first 10, 20, 50 users that you can easily reach and get them as cheap as possible? This is kind of sub-question to customer segments, so they are pretty connected here. Question number 3. Problem. Each customer segment you are thinking to work with will have a set of problems that they need solving. In this box, we will list 1 to 3 high priority problems that our customer segment has. Without a problem to solve, you don't have a product or service to offer, right? Question number 4. Existing alternatives. Over here. Are there any existing alternatives that solve this problem for our customer segments already? In this block, we list 1 to 3 top competitors. It might be direct software-based competitors as well as indirect, like spreadsheets, pen and paper, phone, email, etc. Question number 5. Unique value proposition. In the middle of the canvas is the UVP, Unique Value Proposition block. A value proposition is a promise of value to be delivered. It's the primary reason a prospect should buy from you. A way to get your head around this is to think, why are you different and why should your customer segment buy or invest time in you? It is usually about improvements to existing solutions or an entirely new way of solving existing customer segment problems. Question number 6. High-level concept. Try to express what is your software about based on existing businesses, services, and products. For example, Instagram is like Facebook for photos only, or YouTube is kind of Flickr for videos. Question number 7. Solution. Finding a solution to the problem is the golden egg. Probably you're not going to get this right at first, and it's fine, as that's what lean approach is all about. What you need to do is start talking to your potential customers and take those learnings. Remember that lean startup is validated learning through a continual build, measure, learn cycle. Question number 8. Channels. Over here. Channels are ways for you to reach your customer segment. And remember that the initial stages, it's important not to think about scale, but to focus on learning. With that in mind, try to think which channels will give you enough access to your customer segment and at the same time give you enough learning. Channels can be email, social, cost per click ads, blogs, articles, trade shows, radio and TV, webinars, and so on. And by the way, you don't have to be on all of them, just where your customer segment is. Question number 9. Revenue streams. Over here at the bottom. How you price your business will depend on the type of model it is. However, it's quite common for SaaS startups, monthly subscription software businesses, to lower their cost, even offer it for free to gain traction. In this block, we'll list 1 or more streams that will give us the first money. That might be a monthly subscription per user, paid ads on our online platform, or commission on some user-specific transactions. You can even project some rough numbers and pricing tiers here if you have enough information based on your competitors. Or you can make a list of streams without any numbers at all. Question number 10. Cost structure. Here. How much will it cost to build? What is your burn rate? What is your total monthly running costs? What is your hosting costs? What is your team structure and team salaries right after you launch? These are all questions you can consider answering in this block. Just whatever you have answers to. You can then use these costs and potential revenue streams to calculate a rough break-even point with your business. Question number 11. Key metrics. Every business, no matter what industry or size, has some key metrics to monitor its performance. There are a few standard metrics for any business that you need to keep an eye on. These are revenue, net profit margin, gross margin, monthly recurring revenue, number of customers, and many more. In software, there are a few more things you need to track. We will get into more details on this block in product strategy module. Question number 12. Unfair advantage. Here. This is the most challenging block to answer. However, do try to think about this as having an unfair advantage can help when it comes to seeking partners and investors. Here is an excellent definition of unfair advantage. The only real competitive advantage is that which cannot be copied and cannot be bought. Unfair advantage can be insider information, a dream team, getting expert endorsements, existing customers, your unique expertise, and many other things. So rather than think about adding something like commitment and passion as unfair advantage, because it is not, think about what you have that no one else can buy, or something that you can build that cannot be copied fast. So these are 12 questions we need to answer in the Lean Canvas business model. Yes, all these answers will still be guesses and not more than assumptions. We don't know for sure anything before we launch our software and before we have real users' feedback, right? But we still need to build something, right? MSP version or even just a clickable prototype to show to our users. So we need to come up with some assumptions, build on it, and then move on and adjust it until we find the truth. The only difference here between lean canvas approach and 50 pages business plan is that we don't waste too much time. We only spend the necessary minimum to move forward and set initial goals and scope for our software product. This lean canvas will be changing pretty often during product strategy, project roadmap and development stages, and after launch it will be changing even more often. A couple of important notes to consider while working with a lean canvas. Rule number 1. We start lean. As I already told you, the main point of the lean canvas is to avoid 50 pages business plans. On the other side, we need to put some quick assumptions about our target audience and our market to build and launch the MSP version, right? So don't overcomplicate this process. You will be adjusting your canvas all the time during our masterclass and even more often after you launch your software version for first time. Rule number 2. Order is not important. There are no specific best practices in which order to go over lean canvas blocks. New ideas are not created equally. Sometimes you can generate a new at random idea and then go to the market and see if it makes sense. Other times you might come up with your new idea only after talking to a specific customer segment. Or you might already have a solution and want to check if that is something viable. So now you go out and start talking to people and trying to sell your solution. So pick whatever order you want and fill in your canvas. Rule number 3, a rough sketch. There are no specific guidelines on how to fill in the information into lean canvas blocks. Of course, the more details you provide, the better. But on the other side, you don't want to work on canvas for weeks. Just use all the information you already possess about your customers and their problems and put it on your canvas. Yes, you can do some quick research here and there, but don't overcomplicate it at this point. How to avoid spending too much time? We have a simple rule here for you. Do not spend more than 1 hour on research and canvas completion. This time limitation will define your level of details on your canvas. For example, if you already know some numbers and how you're going to price your product, then put it in revenue streams block. If you don't know and it will take you not more than 5 minutes to figure out the initial pricing structure, then do this. Do this research and put these numbers into revenue streams block. But if you cannot come up with any numbers, let's say for revenue streams or for cost blocks within, let's say 15 or 20 minutes, then just ignore it for now. Just put a simple list of your assumptions into these blocks and leave out any numbers for now. We will review these numbers with you throughout product strategy module and will dedicate a bit more time to these questions. Okay. Now, when you know what lean canvas is all about and how to work with it, let me share my screen and do some live training for you. I will show you 3 examples of how I can create a lean canvas for 3 different businesses. One will be in real estate and the other 2 in software space. And we'll start from a rental apartment example. Now you can see the lean canvas template we are going to use. On this video lesson page, you will find a link to this Google document you can see right now. But you cannot edit this document directly, so we need to copy it first. We go to File menu here, make a copy menu item and name our lean canvas document. Let's call it the long-term rental apartment. Lean canvas, long-term rental apartment, and copy it to our own Google Drive. This is it, and we are ready to start work on lean canvas. And let's start from the name. I will switch to full screen mode here, so we have a bit more space here. Cool. For project name, it will be pretty simple. Let's call it the same name as document, long-term rental apartment. And we can also add street name of this apartment so I remember what specific apartment it is all about. Jarelna Street in my case. This is the street name here in Lviv. Okay, cool. It was my first small one-bedroom studio I rented out in my city, so I will fill this canvas based on my real data. At that time, I saw that a lot of foreign tourists are visiting Lviv for long term, and they wanted to avoid expensive hotels. They complained that there are no excellent rental apartments available in the city downtown and with some English-speaking support, no English-speaking support. So I started with a problem box here on this canvas. So let me fill this in. I am removing these 3 dots. And what is the problem? There are no enough long-term rental apartments in Lviv downtown, providing good enough management services that can host foreign tourists. Okay, got it. A possible solution to this problem could be a new rental apartment in downtown with an English-speaking manager and probably with 24/7 tenant support. It's pretty obvious, right? The solution part here. So the first solution is we need new rental apartment in downtown. Second solution, we need English-speaking manager. Third one is we need 24/7 tenant support. If our solution has these 3 options, we will probably have no problems renting out this house, right? Next. So my unique value proposition and something that could let me positively stand out from my competition can sound like this. What I propose to my tenants: long-term rental apartment in downtown with fresh repair, obviously, and English-speaking manager. I wanted to host long-term foreign tourists, people who were moving to Ukraine due to their job requirements. So in my customer segments block, I would feel something like, I would enter foreigners, let's say job-related relocation. Oh, typo. Okay, so also a friend of mine who owns a lot of rental apartments here in Lviv suggested me to avoid families with kids and pets so that I would not spend too much money on regular maintenance. Thus, I ended up with the next segment of tenants for my apartments. I wanted to look for singles or young couple, probably between 22 and 40 years ideally, no kids and no pets. The segment that is pretty young, active, and spending most of its time outside of their home, spending most of their time in office and not cooking that much at home. This is exactly who I was looking for at that time. And because it all was my first experience, I wanted to rent out my apartment to someone within my close friend circle. I thought this would be kind of a safe bet and good to learn how it all works at the beginning. So I put here, I would like to start with my friends as early adopters. Actually, it didn't work, and I found my first tenant via a real estate agent. But this was my desire at that time, so I need to put it here as a plan. What alternatives did we have at that time in Lviv? This block here. At that time, we didn't have enough similar apartments with this kind of service, and the only 2 alternatives were expensive hotels or rental apartments with zero assistance. So I was in a sort of sweet spot and it worked pretty well. I rented out my apartment at a premium price and pretty fast. So what I'm going to put here in existing alternatives block in link canvas is luxury but expensive hotels and rental apartments with poor or zero service. How can I describe the high-level concept for my rental apartment business for this single real estate object? I would probably go for something like hotel service at a long-term rental apartment price. Sounds pretty cool. It could even be used like for marketing purposes, right? Hotel service at a long-term rental apartment price. Okay, the next one, channels. I had one great unfair advantage actually. I got a good friend of mine among real estate agents, and thus I had direct access to internal agents database. My initial plan was to use 3 channels. This internal database, a group of rental estate agents, and online ads boards. Let me fill this in here in channels, into channels block. Internal contacts, database, real estate agents, surely, paper and online ads boards, let's say. But I never used that internal database or online ads at the end. My friend quickly and easily fed me with great leads and tenants. Let me also fill this unfair advantage block here. Access to the internal contacts database. And I had a friend who is a real estate agent. What would be the top key metrics for this kind of business? This block over here. I would probably highlight 3 of them here. First, number of hours spent by the manager monthly. This one is important as the more time the manager spends on, the more cost I have during that month. So I need to watch this metric closely. The second one is regular repair costs. This one is also pretty essential metric for me as it will reduce my profit. Finally, ROI, return on investment in percent. I'm renting this apartment for years and it gives me back between 8 and 11% per year back in revenue. So I also want to track this one. Okay, we have 2 blocks left in this canvas. Cost structure. Every month I spend money on the next things. Let me clean this up and put my actual costs. I have bills, manager salary. I need to do regular refreshment, repair, paint walls, and I need to fix broken things all the time it happens. What are my revenue streams here? Obviously, the main one is monthly rental price. I am paid once per month, and also when we signed our annual agreement, tenant paid me 2 months in advance. That is how it works here. Also, the tenant covers monthly bills apart from the monthly rental price. So let me put this here. This is monthly rental price. It's paid 2 months in advance, and also tenant covers monthly bills. And this is it. We just defined a business model for my first rental apartment in Lviv city. Obviously, it didn't work out as I planned for every block here on this canvas, but the main points were pretty accurate. Okay, I put this canvas as a separate slide here for you in this presentation, so you can go back here and review it anytime you need. Okay, now let's move from real estate to software. Let's do the same link canvas process for the initial version of the Facebook platform. So let me share my screen. I'm going to repeat the same process here, starting with link canvas template. Let me enter the full screen mode. Okay, so let's call it link. Let me copy this first, sorry. Okay, link canvas, let's call it the Facebook. In early stage, Facebook name was the Facebook. Let's also name it, put this same name to project name place. So this is link canvas for the Facebook platform software. The Facebook. Okay. Mark Zuckerberg, a Facebook founder, didn't start Facebook with a specific target audience or their problems in mind. Instead, he was spending a lot of time building different software programs and experimenting with photos and data. With friends, they built a few different websites and pushed to their college mates to try it out. One of these things was Face Mesh. This was a website set up as a type of hot or not game for Harvard students. Yeah, it allowed visitors to compare two female student pictures side by side and let them decide who was hot and who was not. After a few different tries, guys ended up building a social network. So they started with an idea, not from customers and not from the problem in this case. So their unique value proposition was something like, let me put it here directly, a social network to let friends connect and share. I would even start with not friends, but students, college students connect and share. And on the other side, to monetize this idea, they decided to bring in some advertisers. So for each block on this canvas, we'll put extra notes for advertisers. What was unique value proposition for advertisers? Obviously, they wanted to provide a platform to reach a highly targeted audience. Existing alternatives block. At that time, we had social portals like Friendster and MySpace, which were pretty weak in terms of functionality. And also, for advertisers, they only had Google AdWords and Yahoo Ads Engine. So let me put it here. Friendster and MySpace. Also for advertisers, we had Google AdWords and Yahoo, who are indirect Facebook competitors. Probably we can say it's like photo albums with in-person meetings and phones, maybe it's something like that, I guess. So let me put it here. Photo albums, in-person meetings and phone calls. The problem block. So as you can see, at that time, there was no great place online where friends can connect and share in truly engaging way. So let me put this as a main problem on our canvas here. So there is no great place where you connect with your friends online in a truly engaging way. So naturally, what would be the solution here? Let's list top 3 features that would solve our problems. First one, rich student profile with friends connections. That's something that was not working very well in existing competitors at that time. Second one, messages inbox. It was pretty cool feature at that time. And third one, common interests among college students. They wanted to create a highly engaging platform. For this, it would be best to start with narrow audience like students, so they have a lot of interests in common. Now, unfair advantage. All Facebook founders and the team were students at that time, so they had some access to student photos and college database. Also, they had a good network within college communities, so they were able to quickly populate their database with an initial set of student profiles and spread the word pretty fast. So I think that was pretty good and fair advantage for them at that time. So let me put it here. So founders are students building software for themselves, of course, and their mates. Also, they had an access to college students database to upload the first photos and user profiles. High-level concept block. How can we mirror Facebook idea comparing to existing solutions at that time? For end users, I think we can name it something like a Friendster for college students. Friendster for college students. What about advertisers? Can it be something like AdWords for college students? So you can kind of advertise your stuff for a specific audience, which in that case was college students. So let's use this one. AdWords for college students. Okay. I know it's not the best idea, I think, but something that will let us get started. And with this description, we can quickly introduce our social network idea to others, right? Let's move on to channels block now. Any social network needs to go viral to grow fast. Also, founders had an access to college community, so they probably made good use of it. So let's put it here as well. Viral sharing. It's like when you start sharing your stuff with other people, and so they just this way you are spreading the word. We call it viral sharing. And student communities. Okay, and for advertisers, I think that any B2B sales starts with direct sales. So let's put it here, this assumption. Direct sales to advertisers. Now let's move on to key metrics block over here. The main goal for any social network is to keep users engaged and make them spend all their spare time online, right? Or at the very least, make sure visitors are checking their news stream daily. With high user engagement, paid advertising becomes more effective, yes? So we definitely want to track users' engagement. How can we do this? I think we can start with some simple metrics like, let's say, page views, session duration, user session duration, how often users get back to the network. I think that would be enough for the beginning. What about advertisers? I think they are interested in cost per click or cost per view. And also we as founders of such network also would like to know what would be the price at the end. Something that would connect both sides together. Cost per click or per view. Well, that would be enough in the beginning. Okay, 2 more blocks left to finish our canvas. Cost structure. In this case, cost would be pretty hard to estimate in any specific numbers before we launch, so I will simply list a few significant things here. Hosting, development, obviously we need this one, existing user support, probably, and definitely we want to do some marketing and sales, at least for advertiser side, to get more advertisers onto our platform. Now let's move on to the last one, revenue streams block. Let's try to be a bit more specific here. These days we know how Facebook ads work and what are Facebook ads average costs, so we can put some quick rough guesses, or let's call it projections. Let's start with a revenue model. We know how it works. It's like advertisers are paying for clicks or views or other metrics. These days they have a lot of different ways to monetize, but probably they start as simple clicks or views. Let it be clicks. A lifetime value. Don't worry if you don't know what it means. We'll review it in more details in the product strategy module. LTV is the total amount of money a customer is expected to spend in your business or on your products. So in our case, let's imagine that it will be like 4 years of usage on average per social network user. And let's say we have one user is making 1 click per week, one ads click per week, and then let's imagine we have $1 per click costs. So that would result in $192 per user. Yeah, I made this calculation up front. Obviously, I am not like Rain Man. So we have $192 per user lifetime value. Gross margin, I will leave it empty here. I have no idea what would be a gross margin for social network before I launch. Actually, I forgot 2 very important blocks here. These are customer segments and early adopters. We have 2 customer segments here to start with. These are college students and advertisers. Okay. Mark Zuckerberg with his friends were students of Harvard University, so naturally Harvard students were selected as early adopters. So here, this one, Harvard students. And for advertisers, they were interested in starting with those who wanted to sell something to college students, right? So let's know it here. Advertisers that want to reach college students. Yeah, sounds like a good plan, right? A good initial plan. So we just finished our second link canvas example, this time for the Facebook software. Let me quit this browser full screen and get back to our slides. And again, I put this canvas as a separate slide for you here, so you can go back to this lesson and review it anytime you need. Okay, this is the last link canvas example in our lesson. This one will be about Slack, online chat platform. Do you know what it is? This is an online group chat software which allows teams and companies to stay super productive. It's a huge time saver for remote teams as well as for office-based employees. It allows doing group video calls, also it integrates with tons of existing business software, and it does a lot more great things. We're using Slack internally to communicate in our software development agency. Also, we are using it to run private educational groups. This time I prepared link canvas in advance. So we'll save a bit of time, and instead of watching me typing all these details, I will go over prepared data, okay? So let me tell you a bit of history behind this Slack software. It will help us better understand its business model and some initial assumptions. There was a company named Tiny Speck. They were building a game called Glitch. At some point they realized they needed a better tool to communicate within their product team. After trying a few different tools and not being happy with any of them, they decided to build their own communication software. So it all started as a software toolpath, software for own purpose. They had a budget from existing paying customers to invest in this chat software. Also, their early adopters were their employees. This tool worked great for them and their internal communication improved a lot. Then at some point they realized this tool might be helpful for other teams as well. So they packaged it as monthly subscription software and started selling it. As a result, it grew pretty fast, and within a few years they collected thousands of paying customers. It was a massive success for them, and they beat big competitors like HipChat by Atlassians and Chanty. Now they also have a big marketplace of Slack add-ons and integrations and hundreds of contributors. So Slack is an excellent example of how you can start from the software tool path and switch with it to new income stream path. Now let me go over each block on this canvas one by one. Customer segments. Small teams, companies, enterprises, non-profit communities, closed online groups, free or paid groups. Also, as early adopters, as already told you, they had their own employees, tiny spec company employees. The problem: at that time, existing tools provided pretty poor user experience and didn't have any proper integrations with other business software. So Slack solved both of these problems. As a solution, we have 3 key points here: group communication, marketplace with add-ons and integrations, and easy-to-use interface. One of key things in Slack was like easy-to-use interface comparing to existing solutions. Unique value proposition here: online communication tool for groups with intuitive design, which integrates with every tool you need. What was the unfair advantage? They had at least 2 things: need for a communication tool within their existing company, so they had like early adopters and could understand their end customers pretty well because they were the customer of their own software. And second one is available budgets to acquire technologies developed by others. A lot of things, including video calls, they haven't developed inside. They just acquired existing business and put this technology to work for their Slack software. Existing alternatives: HipChat and Shanty. Also, an indirect old school alternatives were email, phone, and probably in-person meetings. Key metrics block. I put here 2 groups of metrics actually. First 3 are about user engagement. This is number of channels, messages sent, add-ons integrated within specific company account. Next 3 are usual metrics you need to track in any monthly recurring software, SaaS, software as a service business. These are customer acquisition cost, CAC, monthly recurring revenue, MRR, and churn rate. We will talk a bit more about this KPI in product strategy module, so please don't worry if you don't know any of these terms. High-level concept. If I would like to introduce my idea to someone who never used any online chat software, I would probably describe it as something like Gmail for instant group communication, so they can refer to existing tools they already know. Channels. It will be word of mouth and direct sales for the beginning, I think, and then we would use paid ads to scale it a bit. And finally, marketplace and integration once it's growing big enough. Okay, the next block is cost structure. Here I tried to project some quick numbers based on our own experience building and running similar group chat software. So we have for hosting $500 per month, it's just for the beginning, development, 2 full-time senior level developers plus a project manager, it will be like 15 grand per month. Then we have support, let's say 1 full-time team member at low cost, like 2,000 per month. And finally, sales and marketing, let's imagine that might be something like $150 per user to acquire a new user. For this kind of software, such a setup, like I described here, can cover anything between 500 and 1,000 paying customers. And the bigger you grow, the better you will be able to leverage fixed costs and existing resources. So this would be something for the beginning, and the more paid users you have, the more the higher cost would grow, definitely. But the margin would be like better with more users and with more resources. Revenue streams. Slack provides a freemium model so that you don't need to pay for it until you don't need premium features. So it's basically free until that time. They have a business plan which starts at $8 per month per user. Lifetime value. Let's imagine customers use Slack on average for 3 years. This would result at $8 per month per user in $288 of lifetime value for one user. So I put these numbers here, just rough projections. I don't know for sure how it works right now, but in case I would like to build Slack competitor, I would probably start from these numbers, like some ballpark numbers. Okay, it seems like we finished all canvas block here. This was our last business model example in our lesson. Okay, we are about to finish our lesson, so now let me assign you some homework. On this lesson page, you will find a link to Google Drive document with the link canvas template. Copy it to your folder and fill it in according to guidelines I explained to you in this lesson. Remember, don't spend more than 1 hour working on your link canvas. Any business plan is just a rough guess. Spending any extra time does not guarantee any better guesses, alright? Later in our masterclass, before the project roadmap module, we will have an implementation call with you one-on-one and we'll ask you to share with us your lean canvas. So please don't skip this step if you are on the new income stream path. After you finish your lean canvas, move to the next module. If you are on software tool path, then you can jump directly to project roadmap module. But if you are on the new income stream path, then product strategy module is a must for you. Okay? I'm excited about your software idea business model, so take your time, go over this lesson and complete your lean canvas. And if you have any questions regarding lean canvas for your specific idea, share your lean canvas with us and leave us a question via support. We'll review it on our weekly QA call.